There comes a moment in some women's lives when the room goes quiet, not because things are peaceful, but because everyone has left. The friend who promised to stay, the relationship she built her mornings around, the community that felt like home, the voices that once filled the space around her, one by one, they faded, and now she is standing in a silence she did not choose, holding a life that looks nothing like what she planned, asking the question she is almost afraid to finish. Is anyone still here? If this is where you are today, dear soul, this message is for you. What you are living through is not punishment. It is not evidence that you did something wrong, that you are too much, or that you were never meant to be loved well. What you are walking through right now is one of the most sacred and most difficult seasons a woman can enter, and it has a name. It is called preparation. Augustine of Hippo wrote of a God who does not prepare his people in the comfortable places, who does not form the ones he intends to use in the company of crowds, who takes what he has chosen and brings it to a quiet place, not to abandon it there, but to work in it there in the deep and unhurried way that only silence allows. You are not forgotten, beloved. You are not behind. You are not being left behind by a God who moved on without you. You are being built. Stay with us. Because what we are about to say is not just encouragement, it is confirmation of something you have already felt stirring inside you, in the quiet moments, in the places between the grief. The loneliness you are carrying is not empty. The silence around you is not wasted. And the season you are in is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of the most important chapter. Let us begin. When the people around you walk out, God walks in. There are moments in a woman's life when God, in His mercy and His sovereignty, allows the room to empty, not to harm her, not as punishment for something she did or did not do, but to make room for Himself. Because sometimes the people around her have become the voices she listens to most, the opinions she shapes herself around, the approval she reaches for before she reaches for God. And in His love for her, He gently, deliberately clears the room. Paul wrote in 2 Timothy 4:16 and 17, something that every woman in isolation needs to hear. At my first defense, no one came to my support, but the Lord stood at my side. No one came, and the Lord stood. This is the pattern. This is what God does when everyone else steps back. He steps forward. He is not intimidated by your loneliness, dear woman. He does not look at the empty space around you and feel helpless. He created that space. He knows exactly what He is going to fill it with, and what He fills it with is Himself. Jesus performed His miracles in public, but He was prepared for His purpose in private. He was affirmed at the waters of baptism, but He was strengthened in the wilderness. 40 days, no crowd, no applause, no one to confirm what God had said about Him at the river, just silence, and the one who had spoken over Him. This is not a lesser experience than the river. It is the necessary one, the preparation that makes the public ministry possible, the silence that makes the voice carry when it finally speaks. You are in the wilderness, beloved. And the wilderness is not your destination, it is your formation. When the noise stops, she finally hears His whisper. A loud life makes it very hard to hear a gentle God. His voice is not always thunder. It is not always the dramatic, undeniable, impossible to miss kind of speaking. More often, it is a whisper, specific, quiet, tender, the kind of voice that can only be heard when everything else has gone still. And so sometimes, in His mercy, He clears the noise. He allows the relationship to end. He lets the messages go unanswered. He permits the friendships to shift, not to break her, but to break the noise around her, because she could not hear Him above it, and He has things to say to her that she needs to hear. Augustine described this experience in his Confessions with a rawness that has stayed with readers for 16 centuries. He wrote of years in which he had been surrounded by voices, clever voices, persuasive voices, voices that seemed to offer exactly what he was looking for. And he could not hear God above them, not because God was not speaking, but because Augustine had never learned to be still enough to listen. And then the voices thinned, the noise quieted, and in the quiet he heard something he had been running past for years. The voice that had been speaking all along, underneath everything else, patient and persistent, and full of a love he had not known how to receive. He wrote, "You were with me, but I was not with you." Dear woman, God has been speaking. He has been with you in every season, every loss, every morning you woke up, and the weight was heavy before you opened your eyes. He has been speaking, and this season of silence is the season in which you finally have the quiet to hear Him. Pray differently in this season, not because you should, because you must. Read Scripture not out of habit, but out of hunger. Let the silence be the classroom you never asked for but desperately needed, because what you learn here, you will carry for the rest of your life. She prays in the silence. She reads in the hunger, and slowly she begins to discover who she actually is. Not as someone's partner, not as someone's helper, not as someone's backup plan, as a daughter of the King, as a woman who was known before she was born, called before she could answer, chosen before she had done anything to deserve it. This is what God is giving you in the silence, beloved. Not just comfort, identity. When God removes the crutches, He is teaching her to stand. Many women have been taught from the time they were young to depend on others for direction, for affirmation, for the sense that they are on the right path, doing the right things, being the right person. And there is nothing wrong with needing others. We were made for community. We were made to carry one another. But a woman who only leans on people never discovers the strength that God placed inside her. And so sometimes He removes the crutches, not to hurt her, to train her. Lamentations 3:22-24 says, "Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed. His compassions never fail. They are new every morning. The Lord is my portion, therefore I will hope in Him. The Lord is my portion," not part of the provision, the whole of it, the complete supply. He is enough, and the woman who discovers this truly discovers it, not as theology, but as lived reality, is a woman who cannot be shaken, because her stability is not resting on anything that can be removed. The crutches He removes are not always people. Sometimes they are plans, routines, the image she has built around herself, the need for control, the hunger for approval. And when these things are taken, it feels like loss. It looks like loss from the outside, but from the inside of a woman who has walked through the taking and found something on the other side, it is liberation. Because when she finally loses what she thought she needed, she discovers the one she actually needs. Hagar discovered this in the wilderness, abandoned by people who had used her and discarded her, alone, frightened, with a child she did not know how to provide for. And in the wilderness, she encountered God, not in a temple, not in a beautiful place, in the wilderness. And she gave Him a name that no one had given Him before, Iloro, the God who sees me, not the God who sees everyone in general, the God who saw her, specifically, personally, in the exact place where she had been sent away and left. You are seen, dear woman. In the exact place where you feel most invisible, you are seen. Her pain is not her enemy, it is her teacher. Pain is one of the sharpest tools God uses in the life of a woman He is shaping. And the woman who has no one but God often has nothing to distract her from the pain. She has to sit with it, feel it, bring it to God because there is nowhere else to bring it. And in the bringing, something happens. Look at Hannah in 1 Samuel 1. Misunderstood, mocked, provoked, empty, broken. She went to the temple and prayed in such anguish that the priest thought she was drunk. She was not drunk. She was desperate, and her desperation drove her to a quality of prayer she would not have prayed if her life had been comfortable. Her tears did not push God away. They drew him near. Her pain pushed her into deeper prayer. Her suffering became the altar where her miracle was conceived. And the child she eventually held in her arms, Samuel, the prophet who would anoint kings, was born not in her comfort, but in her breaking. Pain births purpose, dear soul. James 1:2-4 says, "Consider it pure joy when you face trials, because the testing of your faith produces perseverance. And perseverance finishes its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything, not lacking anything." On the other side of the testing, on the other side of the pain, the woman in the pain cannot always see this. She feels only the weight of it, the relentlessness of it, the question of why it is taking so long. But the woman who has walked through it and come out the other side, she knows. She knows that the breaking of what was comfortable made room for what was necessary, that the surrender of what she was holding too tightly opened her hands to receive what God was trying to give. Pain is not the enemy, beloved. Pain is the escort that brings you to heaven's door. Her loneliness is not a delay. It is a delivery room. Purpose grows in quiet places. Callings are conceived in secret, not because God is hiding them from the world forever, but because there is a formation that happens in the hidden place that cannot happen in the open one. The roots must go down before the branches can go up. The foundation must be laid before the building can rise. Elizabeth was hidden for 5 months after conceiving John the Baptist, not because she was ashamed, but because God was forming something holy inside her, something too sacred for open spaces, too fragile for the noise of public opinion, too significant to be exposed before it was ready. Some blessings are like this. Some callings are like this. They must be protected in the hidden season before they can be released into the open one. Your loneliness is not a shelf, dear woman. It is a womb. God is not ignoring you in this season. He is incubating you. He is forming something in you that the crowd cannot see yet, that even you cannot fully see yet, that requires this particular quiet and this particular waiting to complete. You are not being set aside. You are being set apart. Isaiah 43:1 says, "Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine." By name, not by category, not as one of many, by name. Yours specifically. The name only God speaks over you in the quiet moments when no one else is listening. You are His. In this season, in every season, you are His. And when she emerges from this hidden place, she will not be the woman who entered it. She will come out knowing things about God that cannot be learned from a distance. She will carry a faith that does not bend in the wind because it was built in the storm. She will have a compassion for other women in the wilderness because she has been there, not read about it, not heard about it, but lived it. And she will know what to say and what not to say, and how to simply be present in a way that only the wilderness teaches. She will be anointed with the particular anointing that only comes through suffering surrendered. She will speak with the authority that only comes through trust tested. She will carry the peace that only comes to the woman who has had everything taken except the one who cannot be taken. She will be dangerous to everything that tries to stop her, because she has nothing left to lose except God. And she has learned that He is enough. Type in the comments today, "I am hidden, but I am becoming." Let it be a declaration. Let it be the truth you speak over yourself in this season, when the circumstances are not yet confirming what God is doing, because what God is doing is real. Even when you cannot see it, even when you cannot feel it, even when the silence is so loud that it crowds out everything else, He is working. And the woman He is working in is you. Go in peace, dear soul. You are not alone in the wilderness, and you will not be in the wilderness forever. The season is preparing you for something the silence cannot yet contain. Hold on. Before we truly close, there is something more we want to say to you. Something that goes deeper than the 7 truths we have walked through together. Something that Augustine would want to say to the woman who is reading this in the quiet of a room she used to share with someone, or in the middle of a season that has lasted so long, she has started to wonder if it will ever change. You are stronger than you know. Not in the way the world means when it says that. Not in the pull yourself up, figure it out. You don't need any one kind of strength. In a deeper way. In the way that a woman who has been held by God in the wilderness develops a rootedness that women who have never been in the wilderness simply do not have. Not because the wilderness women are better, but because the wilderness does something that comfort cannot do. It teaches you that you can survive what you thought would break you. Every day you have gotten up in this season is evidence of that. Every morning you opened your eyes and did the next thing, even when the next thing was hard and the grief was still there and nothing had changed. Every one of those mornings is a testimony, not to your strength alone, to the strength of the one who was with you in each one of them, carrying more of the weight than you could see. Ruth lost everything: her husband, her homeland, her language, her culture, the familiar shape of her entire life, and she made a decision in that loss that became the pivot point of her entire story. She turned toward Naomi and she said, "Where you go, I will go. Where you die, I will die. Your God will be my God." She did not know what was ahead. She did not have a plan. She did not have provision or security or any guarantee that things would get better. She had a direction, and the direction was toward the woman who was also broken, toward the God who was still present, toward the life that was waiting on the other side of the decision to keep going. And what was waiting? Boaz, the field, the redemption, the lineage that would carry the name of Jesus himself. She did not see that coming. She could not have seen it coming. She was a widow in a foreign country with no resources and no plan and nothing but the decision to move in the right direction. Your story has a Boaz in it, dear woman. It has a field you have not yet found and a harvest you have not yet seen. But it requires the Ruth decision, the decision to keep moving toward God, toward His people, toward the life that is still possible, even when everything you are leaving behind is breaking your heart. Keep moving. Keep turning toward, keep choosing the direction of faith even when the feelings have not caught up. And now we want to speak to the woman who has been in the wilderness for so long that she has started to wonder if something is wrong with her. If she is somehow more difficult to love, more difficult to deliver, more stuck than other women. If God has perhaps moved on to someone else who was more ready, more faithful, more deserving. Dear soul, stop. The length of the wilderness is not a measure of your worth. It is not evidence of your failure. It is not God's way of ranking His children by how much He values them. Some seasons are long because what is being built requires more time. Some callings are deep because the roots need to go further down. Some women are in the wilderness longer because what God is forming in them is bigger, not more deserving, not more special, but more complex, more layered, more specifically fitted to a purpose that requires exactly this much preparation. Esther was prepared for years before she was positioned. She did not know what she was being prepared for. She did not know that the moment would come when her being in exactly the right place, with exactly the right relationship with God, would be the difference between life and death for an entire people. She was just in the process, trusting, waiting, being formed. For such a time as this, Mordecai told her, for this moment, not a random moment, not a general purpose, this specific moment, that required this specific woman who had gone through this specific preparation. Your wilderness is preparing you for a specific moment that requires a specific woman, and that woman is becoming you. The waiting is not wasted. The silence is not empty. The loneliness is not pointless. All of it is for something. All of it is pointing toward a moment that only the woman who has walked through this can handle. So here is what we want to leave you with, dear woman. When you wake up tomorrow in the silence, tell God thank you, not for the pain, not for the loneliness, but for His presence in it, for the fact that He is still there, that He never left, that the wilderness, as hard as it is a place He inhabits, a place He chose to be with you in, rather than watching from above. When the grief comes, bring it to Him, not the cleaned up version, not the version that sounds spiritually acceptable, the real version, the angry version, the I don't understand this version. He receives all of it. He is not put off by any of it. When the silence feels loudest, listen, because the whisper is there. It has always been there. It is saying, I see you, I know your name, I have not forgotten, I am not finished. What I started in you is still being written. And when you come out of this season, and you will come out of this season, you will not be the woman who entered it. You will be more rooted, more compassionate, more unshakable, more you, the fullest, truest, most formed version of the woman God had in mind when He made you. That woman is worth every day of the wilderness. You are worth every day of the wilderness. Type in the comments, I am hidden, but I am becoming. And subscribe, dear soul. Come back next week. Bring another woman who is in the wilderness right now and does not yet know that the wilderness is not the end of her story. It is the beginning of her purpose. Go in peace and know that you are seen.